all of a sudden, when it's about our students, they challenge it, the corporations challenge it, the student loan lenders challenge it. That is not right. That is not fair.
We should understand that education from child care to graduate school is a human right. It should be free to all.
I am fired up because I am fired up to defend student loan debt cancellation for more than 40 million Americans.
What did the Republicans do? What they always do is snatch hope from the American people.
The court knows President Biden has the legal authority to cancel student debt. And they have a clear and simple choice here. Uphold the law, and we can call it a day. But this court has let us down before, overturning and obstructing the will of the people. This court has been weaponized. This court has torn away our fundamental rights. But by hell or high water, we are going to get you the student debt cancellation that President Biden promised.
We go to college, we take out student loans that were supposed to be affordable, we're supposed to be able to deal and thrive and pay our student loans back in an affordable way. But what has happened is that they have become unaffordable. They've become unaffordable. They've not people, and when people make a mistake or when they don't pay the exact amount, all of a sudden one is in foreclosure and one is in all sorts of other things, and they become even more unaffordable. And so that is why President Biden said, we are going to deal with that. As we deal with the end of the pandemic, we're going to deal with that. We're not going to start student debt again without actually making a down payment of it. And the Secretary of Education has the right to do it. And frankly, and this is what really pisses me off, during the pandemic, we understood that small businesses were hurting. And we helped them. And it didn't go to the Supreme Court to challenge it. Big businesses were hurting, and we helped them, and it didn't go to the Supreme Court to challenge it. All of a sudden, when it's about our students, they challenge it, the corporations challenge it, the student loan lenders challenge it. That is not right. That is not fair, and that is what we are fighting as well when we say cancel student debt.
If this court can pass a decision like Citizens United, which allows billionaires to buy our political process, today they can do the right thing and stand up for the young people of this country and cancel student debt. The reality is, and I say this with no joy in my heart, that the younger generation in America today, despite huge increases in worker productivity, despite the fact that we are the richest country in the history of the world, your generation will have, if we don't change it, a lower standard of living than your parents, and we intend to change that. Everybody knows that if this country is going to maintain its economic position in the world, we need the best educated workforce in the entire planet. We need you guys to go out and be the doctors and the nurses and the scientists and the teachers that we desperately need. Long-term or not so long-term, in this wealthy country, we should understand that education from child care to graduate school is a human right. It should be free to all. And our fight right now is at least to make public colleges and universities tuition free.
This is about freedom. It's about economic justice. It's about racial justice. 90% of black students and 72% of Latino students are in debt. Not because they deserve to be in debt, but because their wages are lower, because they don't have the same opportunities, because we have institutionalized racism in our systems that prevent people from earning what they need to earn. And they are more likely than their white classmates to still have that debt 12 years later. Now, if the court strikes down canceling debt for Pell Grant recipients, they are upholding the racial justice wealth gap that is tearing this country apart. That's going to be the legacy of this Supreme Court. I am fired up. Are you fired up? All right, I am fired up because I am fired up to defend student loan debt cancellation for more than 40 million Americans. I am fired up to tell the United States Supreme Court to follow the law and get out of the way so we can cancel this debt. We are here today because millions of working families are being crushed by student loan debt. We are here today because we are sick and tired of Republicans blocking relief to the most vulnerable Americans. And we are here today, and let me be very clear about this, we are here today because President Biden has the legal authority to cancel student loan debt. In fact, let me say that one more time and make them hear it inside. President Biden has the legal authority to cancel student loan debt.
In 2016, I ran for office on the promise of fighting to cancel student debt. Too many people told me I was naive, that it wasn't politically viable, that there was never going to be a day where people will come around to the idea of freeing millions of people from the shackles of student debt. I knew then that it was the right cause to fight for. And millions of people across this country have now come to the realization that yes, it was the right cause to fight for. Millions of young people showed up in 2020 election to say, yes, we want a student debt cancellation. All of you rallied around this country to try to make sure our president, who at the time was hesitant, would finally realize that this was not just a politically viable thing, but it was the right thing to do.
That's right.
And after we got the president to sign the executive order canceling student debt, bringing hope and promise to millions of people who have been begging, marching, what did the Republicans do? What they always do is snatch hope from the American people. And so now they want this radicalized extremist Supreme Court to take away the hope that the President of the United States has given those of us who have been rallying for this cause. Regardless of what happens today, we are not going to stop. We are not going to rest until every single person who has student debt is freed from that and is able to have opportunity in this country.
Our president is attempting to deliver that. He's attempting to deliver on the promises that he made, and he can't do it alone. That's why we're here. That's why you're here. That's why you traveled from far and wide to make sure that people know that we won't stop this fight, and they can't silence us. They can't shut us up. They don't even know how to shut us up because we stand strong. We know how to fight. The fight is in every single one of us, and so that's why we're here. The thing is this. The Supreme Court has this obligation, and it's an obligation to affirm the president's executive authority to cancel this student debt. And so it's not just a wish and a promise. It's not just something that we're asking for. It's not us just throwing pebbles at the sand, at the water, just hoping that something happens. This is an obligation that they have. These oral arguments that started today, yeah, they just begun, but we see how these Republican AGs, how they built this case on this foundation, but y'all, it's nothing but smoke and mirrors.
That's right.